This week on Supercars Talk, 2 more seats are filled at Tickford and there's $25,000 up for grabs for Shane Van Gisbergen at Sydney. The big news this week, I've got an upgraded camera. It's been a while. I've been working off a GoPro. The sound was gradually getting worse and worse. I don't know if anyone actually noticed. I definitely did while editing these things. I was originally putting it down to being in the shed. Then we moved into a new house. It seemed to be a lot worse. So I thought I needed a new microphone. Turns out it was probably the way the sound gets done into the GoPro. So I have invested in a proper vlogging camera. So hopefully the picture's probably not any better, which, you know, we don't want to do too much with this kind of thing. But hopefully the sound is a lot better, and hopefully I can bring you a bit better quality videos from now on. But some actual news for the week in the supercars world. There's actually a few kind of decent things to cover, but first off, as we'd like to, you know, crack on with the big news for the week, they've come out and offered Shane Van Gisbergen, well, they've offered it to all the drivers, but essentially this is the Shane Van Gisbergen prize. 25,000 big ones to the driver who scores the most points over the 4 rounds at Sydney Motorsport Park. That's why it's the Shane Van Gisbergen prize, because really, who else is going to take it out? Cam Waters. Anyway, Scott McLaughlin has confirmed that he will not be coming to Bathurst. This was, you know, probably, I was hoping that he'd still be able to, so it's not really a big surprise, but I had kind of been holding on hope. You know, I am a little bit of a Scott McLaughlin fan. I am an IndyCar fan, so I was hoping to see how he'd go in the cars after being out for a year. You know, whether he'd jump in and be the quickest out of the DJR4. So it is a little bit disappointing we're not going to see him. It's, you know, nothing sinister or anything. It's just really purely because he's got to focus on his IndyCar stuff. He's, you know, they've got to go and do testing and that. Really, with the quarantining and the rules and everything going on at the moment, yeah, it was too much like hard work. Let's hope that he can make the trip next year. But good news for fans of Davison Brothers, because they're going to pair up together again in the 17. They've paired up quite a few times. And really, to me, Alex was probably one of the surprise packets of last year. I was expecting him to kind of do nothing in that Team Sydney car, especially being so late, you know, getting the call up to replace James Courtney after he abandoned that seat. And I hadn't kind of rated Alex that much before. Really good as a co-driver, but he surprised me a little bit. So he'll probably do something really disappointing at Bathurst now and, you know, make me look like an idiot. Tony D'Alberto confirmed as the second driver with Anton De Pasquale in the number 11-2. Garth Tander has jumped on the Chaz Mostert bandwagon of saying he's just going to solely focus on the 1000 at Bathurst. He's not going to worry about doing any GT or TCR stuff either. Yeah, is it really news? Do we care that much? It takes a little bit away though from these other categories. Like I kind of like seeing, you know, the top line kind of drivers in those categories just to see how they compare. Like, you know, it'd be good, like in the GT category now, to see how Matt Payne kind of compares to Garth Tander. It is very hard to compare depending on whose car you're driving and things like that in those categories. But it is definitely good to see, and it's, you know, the TCR, it brings a little bit of credibility, I suppose, to the TCR stuff, having guys like Tander and Chaz in that category, because you can see how they, you know, got guys in that category then stack up against the best of the best. And finally, the real news for the week. 2 more pieces of the Tickford jigsaw puzzle, but the whole driver market. 3 pieces of the driver market jigsaw puzzle, I suppose, are in place now. It's been confirmed James Courtney will be returning in what we can only assume will be the 44 next year. Boost hasn't confirmed, but we can just, really that's probably a Peter Adderton, he got himself in the news last week because Boost wasn't confirmed with Courtney at Tickford. And then he gets himself in the news this week because he says, oh no, we haven't confirmed, we're still deciding what we're going to do. And then in 3 weeks' time or whatever, there'll be a big announcement, oh yeah, they're still going to sponsor Tickford and Courtney next year. So he gets another run in the news. The human headline is working once again. He does a really good job of it. Is Courtney the right person for the seat? There was a lot of, rhetoric about he's led the Tickford cars in a direction. Whether that's true or not, they possibly were lacking a little bit of direction with Chaz leaving and losing Adam De Borre as well. James does bring that experience to the team. He was one of the guys that if I was the Groves, I would have been putting him kind of at the top of the short list of people to aim for. Maybe he doesn't have quite that outright that he had at one point, but, he's been at, Stone Brothers and then DJR and Holden Racing Team, big top teams he knows, and now obviously he's been at Tickford as well. He knows what they need out of a car. And that's what I think the Groves need next year rather than, some young guy that they've got to teach the ropes. Anyway, we could get into that once again, but I've kind of covered that off last week. The bigger surprise, Jake Kostecki confirmed as Jack Le Broc's replacement. No surprise. We know where Jack Le Broc's going. We know where Truck Assist is going. Not saying anything's been confirmed, but that's what's happening, people. People who don't like Jack Le Broc, get over it. I'm hoping. He has disappointed. Basically, he was all right that first year at Tech Day. He's disappointed ever since in the main game. I'm hoping a change of scenery kind of, brings Jack back to that, the guy that we saw in the development series in Super 2. I don't think he's as bad as what's been made out, but he's looking really, really, really second rate in that 4th Tickford car this year. Yeah. Once again, the questions as to the quality of the cars. So that really doesn't leave many seats unconfirmed. Obviously, there's now a big fight for the third seat at BJR. I'm not sure if you call the Jack Smith one the 3rd or 4th seat there, but the actual, the second BJR car, I'd say, because would you put Macaulay as the second car? No, he'd be the 3rd. So big fight, I suppose, going on there. You've got Pither with his Coke money. You've got Fullwood with the Middies money. You've got Todd Hazelwood with the Sausage Sizzle money. Someone's going to miss out on this merry-go-round, unfortunately, unless one of them is talking to the Groves on the side, because maybe they're anticipating that the Matt Payne's dispensation's not going to come through, and that he really is going to need a second year on an actual year in the development series. But yeah, it's definitely looking the merry-go-round's going around, and someone who definitely deserves a seat. These are the 3 of them are actually all Super 2 champions, and they haven't had probably a proper go in the main game yet. And one of them is they're going to miss out because there's not enough seats for the people currently. It's a sad state of affairs where it's at. Probably seeing, some of the guys, like I've just been pumping up Courtney saying he would be a perfect fit for the Groves. But maybe he's hanging on a little bit, people are hanging on to those kind of guys for too long. Maybe shuffle some of those guys to give some of those younger guys a bit of a go in a different environment, see how they go. Try them out for a year or two. If they're not successful, well, there'll be some other young bloke coming up through to have a go with anyway. But can probably rant about that all day forever. But yeah, I'll leave it at that for this week because yeah, this video has been going on long enough now, I think. The last thing I want to cover off this week, just quickly, how good did the special Red Bull Honda livery in Formula One look? And it seemed that all these Formula One fans are starting to lose their minds with these special one-off liveries and retro kind of ones, like there was the Golf McLaren one from Monaco, and now Red Bull's done their one. Mercedes did one a couple of years ago. Funnily enough, actually, Red Bull had the best result out of a, kind of a one-off livery, because as my theory goes, one-off liveries, that's basically saying you do not want to win that race, because a one-off livery, if we look at the Supercars Championship, one-off livery has never won a race. So we're not calling the 2017 Bathurst livery, that was not a one-off, that was an additional sponsor for the weekend. Anyway, what I want to do is a couple of videos, the best kind of one-off livery and the best the retro livery. So I've started compiling a little list. Down in the comments though, what are your suggestions? Because I'm sure to have missed one. I'm only going to look at the car of the future period, so from 2013 onwards. I don't want to care about some one-off livery from 1984 or whatever. Just the car of the future period, things like that. The special Wendy's car. Some people said that looked like something naughty. Anyway, that's maybe an extra and not suitable for YouTube kind of one. So yeah, down in the comments, if you can help me compile a list a little bit, because I'm sure I've missed something in the list I've been compiling, but hopefully the sound has definitely improved. Fingers crossed, because I invested money that I don't really have to do this. So anyway, keep that quiet from the missus, see if she actually watches these videos. As well, Thursday, keep an eye out. There's another interview coming out. I've got a couple more to go. Not sure if I'm going to continue with them because the views have been a little bit terrible on them. Feedback's been really good though, so keep an eye out for that. Until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.